This is the Let's Roll Podcast with your host, Double R. Yo, this is your host, the Rose the Most, Double R, and this is the Let's Roll Podcast. Guys, I want to first off apologize for this year. I have not stuck with doing a podcast episode. I slacked off big time this year, and I know I keep making that excuse, but it's been kind of a rough year. I want to talk about, I guess, what I've been up to, and this episode is going to be titled, I Can 3D What? So in this episode, I'm just going to generally talk about what I've been up to, that I'm into 3D printing now, and some of the hard things that are going on in my life right now, and we'll touch on what happened last night, or as of this recording, it was last night, but by the time you hear this episode, it might be a couple of days from the night that America just, I don't know what America's doing anymore. But we'll get into all that and much more right after this. So, what have I been up to? Well, as I've said in past episodes, starting back at the beginning of the year, since we're almost towards the end of the year now, started off getting COVID, and I talked about how that happened in past episodes. And then I would say, really ever since I got COVID earlier this year, it's been a struggle to get back into the swing of things and being able to stay motivated and just keep doing the things that I like to do and want to do. And podcasting is one of them, but I think I got burned out on podcasting a little bit. I believe that I kind of ran out of things to talk about, and I'm probably going to shift my podcast more to my feelings and view on things in the world now, what's going on in the world, and then touch on things that I, deal with. And then if I happen to think of a particular topic that kind of goes with what my podcast is originally about, and that's me dealing with everyday situations as being someone that is disabled and or with my bone condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, then, I'll dedicate an episode to that particular subject. But for the most part, I'm going to pop on, do an episode or two. At least I'm going to try. And I know I keep saying that, and I guess I would be more motivated if I got more feedback from people and kind of give me topics and whatnot. And you can always do that. You can always, if you're a part of the Facebook page, you can always reach out to me on Facebook. You can go to www.theletsrollpodcast.com. You can send me a message through there. The one thing that I'm not on, or I won't say I'm not on, I still have accounts, but I'm probably not going to log into even my personal account, and that is on X, or AKA Twitter. I'm done with Twitter, and I'm done with a lot of things when it comes to social media type stuff. I'll stay on Facebook. I like Facebook. A lot of my family's on there, and I can keep track of friends and family. And Facebook is, can it get negative and toxic on Facebook? Yes, it can, but not as bad as it is on X. And I enjoy also being on TikTok. So, but even then, that kind of gets a little bit more, especially in this environment that we're in now, and even in this world, not much less this country. And then, like I said at the beginning, I kind of got into 3D printing. I knew about 3D printing, but I never thought about it very much. I am a creative person at heart. I like to create things and do things that, gives me the ability to be creative. And if it was from being a DJ to doing graphic art a little bit, dabbing into that, now doing the podcast. I even got a Cricut vinyl cutter craft machine, and I did that a little bit. It didn't take off the way I wanted to do with the Cricut. I mean, I still have it. I can still go in there and jump on it and do some stuff. But I I guess I was getting to a point where I needed something, that would give me that creative outlet, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll get into 3D printing, and I jumped into the on YouTube and went down the rabbit hole of everything 3D printing, and looked at all kinds of videos about different 3D printers, and I definitely want to be the type of person that it's plug and play. It's a very low learning curve. I don't want to. I'm not a tinkerer, so I don't want to tinker with stuff. I might with it after I get to know it a lot better. But to start off with, I didn't want to buy just a random 3D printer, especially the ones that are not, we'll call it dummy proof, to start out with. I wanted something that's easy, that I could make mistakes and not be freaking out, because I got to learn how to fix something or whatever. So I initially was going to buy a big 3D printer and get one. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, you know what? I need to start off with something that, one, is affordable, and two, I can see if I really want to do this, if it's really something that I want to get into. So I bought a small, what would be considered a beginner's slash kids 3D printer. And at first I thought I was getting one that was really strictly for kids and didn't give you the ability to just print anything. But luckily, the more I watch videos and watch, videos like the best beginner 3D printer, blah, blah, I came across 3D printer. It's called a Tina 2S. It's very small build plate, but it was something that I could start off with to see if I would enjoy it, see if I could learn how to make models and whatnot. And so when I got it, it was simple. There was nothing really to put together. It was basically plug in, turn it on, and boom, go. And since I had been watching videos all the time before I got a printer, I had a good enough knowledge to know what to do and how to do it. So I picked up on a software, an online software, or program, or whatever you want to call it, website, called Tinker CAD. And it's basically a website that is designed to educate, for education, and it's very simple stuff, and you build things from putting shapes together. And so it's more like a beginner type CAD type program. Now, I haven't jumped into any of the bigger and fancier CAD systems yet, but Tinkercad is great for me for right now. And then, of course, with 3D printing, there's several websites, and even the company of the new printer I'm about to get. They have their own website that you can go and download other people's creations and things that they've shared with the community. And, you really don't have to design anything. But anyway, I got into it. I got the first printer that I got was a small one. The first thing I designed was, I used to have this thing that I put together using a wooden dowel, the end of a Nerf gun dart that had the actual suction cup on the end of it. I took the suction cup off the Nerf bullet or dart, and I glued it to this dowel, and I used it to pick up CDs, CDs and stuff, really CDs, and it lasted me for a while, but it ended up just wearing out and breaking. So before I even got the 3D printer, I decided I wanted to make me another one, but I wanted to make it with I'm going to call it a flat metal bracket. I was trying to find one that was a cross, like a plus sign, that already had the holes in it, that I could get more of these darts and glue them into the black bracket, and then screw the bracket onto a dowel. And that way it gave me something I could, I would have more suction cups on it, to where not only could I pick up a CD with four corners, but I could pick up a cell phone, depending on how it landed and what kind of case it was in. But like my phone, if it fell down on the ground or something, I could be able to pick it up by using the suction cup. So you can't always pick up, definitely something's in like a CD or a credit card, even a credit card I could pick up with this device that I made. But you can't always pick that up with a regular grabber that someone would use that's in a wheelchair. So I designed this thing. Well, then when I got my 3D printer, I was like, I think I can make this even the way I really want it and design it and 3D print it. The head of it, or where the suction cups would attach, and then the dowel would slide into it. Like there would be an opening for the dowel to slide into it. And when I say a dowel, I'm talking about a long wooden dowel. And so I designed it, and the first design I made worked, but the way I designed it, it was too thin. It had too much flex where the suction cups were. I went through about 5 iterations of this design and finally found one that I was happy with, that had no flex in it, very solid. And then as I'm doing this, I realized, I could add magnets in the middle of it to where if I drop my keys, or something that's magnetized, I could pick it up. Especially like little screws or something that I drop. I could pick it up with a magnet on the end of this thing. I mean, it's not going to be something I carry with me because even though it's a wooden dowel, I cut the wooden dowel down to where it wasn't so long, it's not going to be easy to carry around. But it is something that I can have in my room and be able to pick things up. And so I made that. And then I started looking around my room, and I fixed a thing on my wheelchair. My current wheelchair was missing this cap that goes on top of where the caster wheel is connected, and it was a cap that covered up the nut and bolt, and the cap came off a while back in my van, and we didn't realize what it was, and we threw it away. Well, then I figured it out the other day that that's the cap that was supposed to be on my wheelchair. So I redesigned the cap to replace it. I haven't tweaked it yet, but originally I made one and it fit, but it needs to be a little bit. I need to get it to have a little bit tighter fit. So I will redesign it. But anyway, I'm just finding all kinds of cool things to do with it. I made a battery holder for my rechargeable vacuum cleaner that I have. I designed one of those and blah, blah, blah. Well, the one problem I kept running into with the 3D printing was that this printer that I have right now is just too small. It's great if you want to print, like, for example, instead of printing the whole part of something, and I just want to kind of test fit some stuff, it's great for that because I can print little small things really quick on it, and it's fine for that. But in order to print bigger things that I kept running into that I wanted to either design or get the file off the internet and print, it takes a bigger printer. And so when I was looking at the printers, again, I didn't want to get into something that was going to have to deal with a lot of adjusting and calibrating and all that. I wanted this just again to be like a microwave, plug them in and go. And so the company that I ended up looking at the most was Bamboo Labs. And they've only been in business for the last, I think on one video, it said like a couple of years or so, maybe 2 to 3 years. But their machines are basically the iPhone of 3D printing. And they had some beginner models that were basically plug and play. And I was looking at those at first, but I wanted something that was enclosed and all this. And so they had three machines that are we'll say the upper levels of 3D printing. So in those 3 machines, you have kind of like a beginner, not a beginner, but we'll say a beginner professional, semi, and then you have more of a semi or mid-range professional, and then you have a professional. And the first one and the middle one are basically the same printer, just one has a little bit more features than the other one. And the middle one is priced in the middle of the two, the lower, the lower big one and the big bad boy one. And so I decided I was going to get that one. Well, the way my life is going right now, and I'm in I'm at a place where I need to start making some money somehow, somewhere. But and here I am talking about buying some. I was going to finance it, and I just kept getting to the point where I was going to buy it, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to wait till I get a couple of other things paid off. And I was hoping to have one by the end of the year, but at least the one that I originally wanted. And so tonight I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm paying for some internet. We have basically two internet services where I live, and I'm paying for one that's just in my room. But primarily I'm hooked to I'll call it the house internet, which we finally upgraded to a better service, and it's more reliable and stuff. So I'm paying $50 for a month for mine, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna return that and cancel that, and then take that money that I was paying for that $50 a month to pay $50 a month to finance a printer. But instead of getting the one that I really wanted, I went down to the two beginning level ones. There's an A1 mini and then an A1, and I went with the A1. And the A1 is an open sling plate or bed. That means the bed and the nozzle that has a filament move. They both move. The one that I was originally going to get, the plate didn't move. The plate was still. That just the head of it moved. And so, but it was a little bit more. And so when I went to try to buy the one that I really wanted, it was going to be like $80 a month. Well, that doesn't fit within the budget that I have of getting rid of my internet and getting this lesser one. So I decided, okay, I'll get the A1, and it's also a multicolor printer too. So you can hook four things of filament to it, and it will automatically switch colors based on your whatever you're printing. Whatever you designed and how you designed it. So I was like, I'll just go ahead and get this one. Not the exact one that I want, but it's going to be like a next step up, so to speak. And then down the road, if I'm still into this and I still want to, because what I think what I think I potentially want to try to do is I do want to try to start making money with it. I think it's something that I can do easily within my bedroom, and design. My hope is to design stuff that people with disabilities can use. The CD credit card picker upper, whatever. I don't even have a name for that thing. But I thought I could make that and sell those pieces. And for people that don't have a 3D printer, they could buy something that's already made, and I can give it to them. But sell it to them. And then just create other things that I'll try to sell. The other income that I have right now is Whatnot. And I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but Whatnot is me and my friend that lives with me. We sell used DVDs and Blu-ray movies, and it's like it's eBay and Twitch combined. So it's an auction site where we do a live stream and we sell these movies, and we do all right when we're consistent in doing it. And like I said earlier this year, we both got COVID, and that just kind of took us out of the game for a while. We recently started doing it in the last 2 weeks. We've done like 3 or 4 shows and started to sell our inventory. The problem that we have with it right now, though, is that we have so many DVDs, and then we do Blu-rays, and people want more Blu-rays than they want DVDs. But I don't want to buy anything else or go out and find some inventory until we sell what we got. And so that's something else I've been doing, trying to get back into doing is Whatnot. But other than me getting into 3D printing, doing Whatnot, and then I have a mother that's getting older, and her mind doesn't work like it used to. Don't believe that she has Alzheimer's or dementia, but she does have very short memory loss issues. And and that's kind of scary to think about, where that can lead and where that can go. So that's been on my mind a lot, and I've been trying to deal with that. But let's touch on what happened last night, and it was election night. And as much as I like to talk about politics with different people, and especially people that don't, especially the opposite of what my view on politics. And I never want to talk to somebody and try to, attack them personally. I try not to do that at all. But I will question things. I will ask, why do you, think or believe this? Why do you see things this way? And the biggest thing right now in this society, and even in the world, period, is we base everything on feelings right now. We base on how we feel about stuff. And our feeling is our perception. So going through the 4 years of President Trump, then President Biden, and Trump and Biden decide to run, and then they get to their first debate, and Biden just shits the bed, so to speak, when it came to debating him. The Democrats panicked and decided to, let's not kid ourselves, push Biden out of the way, get him to resign him running for president, and then since they did it so late in the process, they didn't do a primary. They didn't have other candidates come up and try to bid for a bid for president. They give it to Kamala Harris. On one hand, I didn't have a problem with that, and that didn't bother me. And I wasn't one of these people that went, well, how could you do that? How do you just hand it to somebody else and blah blah? And then Republican side was like, well, you didn't have a primary, you just did this, and that's not right, blah blah blah. You didn't give the people the choice. Well, the way I looked at it at the time was Biden was running again, and he wasn't going to change vice presidents. There was no sign of him changing vice president. So, yeah, I would, we would have been voting for Biden and Harris. No problem. Now Biden's out, Harris is in. Okay, that's fine. And then when it came down to her VP pick, I wasn't the only one that I really wanted or thought that would be really good, in my opinion, was Pete Buttigieg. And I liked him because he knows how to talk to people, and he deals with facts. Now, that's just my opinion and my view, and some people might see it differently than I do, and that's okay. No problem with that. The only time I have a problem when talking about politics is when you try to make it personal. When you try to say, well, you're dumb for thinking that way. I'm not going to say you're dumb. I'm not going to say you're stupid. I'm not going to even say you're wrong. I just, my more question, I question more of why. And if you can give me a good reason why, and a factual reason why, then okay, I'll think about it. I might be able to see your side. I pride myself on being able to see both sides of the situation. But it was very hard for me to understand why someone like Trump people would back. And I don't hate the man. I don't dislike the man. I wouldn't vote for him. But that's not saying I wouldn't vote for a Republican. I have voted for Republicans in the past, and I've voted for Democrats in the past. So it's not about, for me, it's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about who I feel is better at the time. Because we go through this every 4 years. And after 4 years, and we look at everything and go, well, was that a good deal or a bad deal? Unless Trump tries to pull some crazy stuff, we got to deal with him for 4 years. And there's a lot of scary things that could happen between now and then. And I hope they don't happen. My friend is trying to convince me there's too many checks and balances. But, for somebody that talks the way he does and has tried to do things in the past that he did, yeah, there was checks and balances in the past. But how much checks and balances are going to be now? And I'm concerned about things that could affect me personally. There's always that threat of we're taking away Social Security, we're taking away Medicaid and Medicare and all this. And, it's concerning but I've always tried to live my life is I try to live my life in I can only control the things that I can control. But last night, man, it really hit me, and I had a hard time getting to sleep. And I'm not crying, I'm not complaining, I'm not, hey, man, I hope things will be okay. But the track record doesn't say they're going to be. And so it's concerning. And going back to the whole, it feels, your feelings are your perceptions. People will say, well, prices are up and gas is up and blah, blah. And I don't see them, I don't see them going lower. I don't see them going lower. They might drop down a little bit, but they're not going to go to levels that people think they're going to go to. And gas prices have been high, really, in my opinion, ever since, as far as I can remember. Now, they haven't always been, as high as they are, but they have been high. Because I even remember when my dad was alive complaining about how much gas was. And my attitude always back then was, you got to have gas or you got to pay for it, The whole going electric thing is great and fine and dandy and all that, and that's something that we should strive for. But to all of a sudden just start pushing it, I think is a mistake. I think that it's okay to start doing it and putting it out there and seeing where the market could go. But when you put something out and you want it to take off and because it will be a good thing in the long run, people don't adjust quickly. We adjust slowly. We have to take things in time. But there has to be an effort to do it, but not a, we're going to shove it down your throat effort. And I don't have a problem with things changing. I have a problem with how fast they change. So, it was a rough night last night. It was one of those things where you just, no matter what side you're on, it's like watching your sports team. And I'm jokingly going to say this. Now I know how Dallas Cowboys fans feel. But you're rooting for your team to succeed, and it looks like they're going to go all the way, and then they just shit the bed, and you're just like, what happened? And I'm still struggling with the fact that I have to wrap my head around the fact that someone would support Donald Trump with all the baggage and all the things that he's come with. And we could have a discussion or debate on if he's done all the things that they have either accused him of or even gone to court on and everything. But with that, the biggest problem I have, I guess, with Trump is how he is so unapologetic and has no sense of sympathy when it comes to people in general. And he's not presidential in my eyes. He's never been presidential in my eyes. I don't think he was a good president. I don't think he did anything great in my eyes. I was so sick and tired of hearing about him for 4 years that he was president. And then I was more sick and tired of hearing that after he was president. And now I got to deal with him for another 4 years, hear about him. And it's, I was just like, I need something good to happen today. I need something to bring me out of this mood. I need something to focus on. I need something to think about. Something positive to think about. Which brings me back to my decision to buy or finance or buy. And all I'm doing is switching where I'm putting my $50. And it's a smart choice. We have internet already. I don't need the internet. The original reason I got my internet was because the internet we previously had, as far as the house internet, just sucked. It was just really slow and everything. And so, where we live, we don't have that many options when it comes to internet. And at the time, our only option was AT&T or satellite. And we were waiting for fiber to come in, faster speeds, fiber, speed-wise. Not necessarily fiber throughout the house, but just coming from the outside, fiber connection coming from the outside into the house. And it could be regular Cat 5, Cat 6, whatever, cable, but we needed better speeds. And so when we didn't have that option, then I saw through YouTube, watching YouTube channels and stuff, I saw AT&T, and they had 5G modem and stuff, and talking about what kind of speeds you could get. So I went ahead and got it. I was getting it for my room. At the time, I was doing a YouTube channel, video game YouTube channel, and I thought maybe that will help me with the speeds and being able to do more. But it really didn't. It was faster, but it didn't really help me with that aspect. But I went ahead and got it, and then it came in real handy when we had the storms come through and we lost power. So I have a little backup battery generator in my room, and I just plugged it into that, and so we still had internet because it's a 5G. It's like a cell phone hotspot basically, but it's a big cylinder thing, and the only other bad thing about it was where I have it is not the best place for it to be to get the best signal and stuff. So anyway, I've been paying $50 a month, and yeah, I use it. I use it in my room primarily just on my tablet. It's just my tablet happens to hook to that. I can hook to either one, but I just haven't hooked to that, and then my cell phone usually is hooked to it too when I'm at home. So, but I'm just like, instead of spending $50 on that, I'm going to spend $50 a month to pay for 3D printer, and and hopefully I can start making some money with it, and then whatnot money, and just have a little bit more money come in. I can pay a lot of these things off quicker and faster, and then eventually just upgrade to a bigger 3D printer. One of my things that I'm thinking about is that if I can start making some money with 3D printing, then I can start getting into a 3D print farm and do just a small print farm. So then that way I could really make some money with it. But I think I did it right by starting off with the smaller one and get my feet wet with that, and seeing the potential in it. And it's just what I think I like about 3D printing is that, I see a problem, in our house, like for example with my vacuum cleaner that has batteries. I don't have any holders for them. I don't have anywhere to really put them. So I designed these holders so I can mount them to the wall so I can put the batteries. Because I have 3 batteries, and I have one in the vacuum cleaner and 2 extra ones. So I was like, I could design that 3D print it. And so I did that, and I just I keep looking around and going, oh, I can fix this, I can fix that, I can design this. So I'm excited about it because I'm going to get a little bit bigger printer. I'll have the ability to print in multiple colors. I also have the ability to print in more filament, different types of filament, and I'm excited about it. So it kind of helped me get my mind off of all the negative things going on right now. And I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm usually a very positive person. I try my best to look at the world and just go, some problems are just too big for me to have any kind of control over and worry about. I have to wake up every day and do what I got to do to make it through the day. Make sure my mom's okay. Make sure my family and friends are okay. Just do what I can. And I can't sit around and think about things that I can't really do anything about. I will say that this broke my record when it came to the presidential election. It broke my record. Now, I haven't voted every election since I was eligible to vote. But every time I voted, the person that I voted for won the election. This is the first time that I voted and the person didn't win. So my record's broken, so I can't keep that claim anymore. As far as that goes, so do I think she did the best she could? Absolutely. I think she did the best she could with the time frame that she had. I blame it more on the Democratic Party that they panicked and they didn't think everything through. And I'm not saying if Biden would have stayed in that he could have beat Trump. I think that I kind of think cards were stacked against us. The way this country is and divided in what some think is better than, a better situation than the other. And I guess what will always be that way, will always be somewhat divided. It's more polarizing now. And it's more of a challenge to be able to say what you feel and think without being attacked or looked down upon or whatever. I'm used to being looked down upon. I'm used to people questioning or looking at me or have an opinion of me because I'm disabled, because I'm in a wheelchair, because I look different. But it never really bothered me. I don't take that part to heart. Like I don't get offended by it. Like your opinion's your opinion. Your view is your view. It doesn't mean that I won't be your friend. Now, if you constantly are badgering me or just keep bringing it up, then no, I'm not going to be your friend because there's a time and place for everything. And who you vote for, what your political beliefs are, or your religious beliefs are, or your sexual beliefs are, or your lifestyle beliefs, or whatever it might be, that's you. That's on you. That needs to stay with you. That's why I don't say a lot of times, I don't really say who I'm for, who I'm against. It's obvious when you meet me and you see me and you listen to me. You'll figure out who I'm for and who I'm against as far as things go. And I've said way more on my podcast about things than I would have said in public or around certain people or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just, last night was rough and I said, you know what? I haven't done a podcast. I'm getting on a podcast. I got to vent a little bit. I gotta tell what I'm excited about and then what I'm not excited about and where I might be going from here. But I know I've said this in almost every episode this year, but I'm really trying, guys. I'm really trying to get back into the swing of things, get back to doing a podcast, try to be more entertaining. Please be patient with me. And if you can, please just send me some feedback. It would be wonderful and great to hear from people saying, hey, I listened to your podcast and I really enjoy it. I wish you did more or whatever. Or even if you listen to it and said, man, I really don't like your podcast. I don't like your views. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't care either way. Because either way, to me, you would have to listen to it to have an opinion about it. But doing this is like sitting, I'm literally sitting in my room, recording myself, talking to myself, so to speak, without knowing if it's good or not, without having any kind of feedback or anything like that. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll be back. Hopefully I'll be back. I don't know how often my episodes are going to come out because they haven't been consistent this whole year. I'm hoping to get back on more of a consistent schedule, but the holidays are coming up and stuff like that. So who knows? I might only have one or two, maybe three more this year. I don't know. Or maybe I just get a wild hair up my butt and I'll put out like 5 or 6 of them. I don't know. But I'm glad that you stuck with me, listened to it. And again, send me some feedback. Go to theletsrollpodcast.com. Send me some feedback. Comment on wherever you listen to my podcast. And as always, I love y'all guys. And hopefully we can make it through all this. But until next time, let's roll.
Hey, this is Paula, and you're listening to the Let's Roll podcast with host Double R. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Find links in the description below or at theletsrollpodcast.com.